Welcome, Divine Intuitive Soul. Thank you so much for joining me here. For today, we have a collective reading on what messages you need to hear right now. As always, we have our Reiki grid to help charge our space. We have our Organite as well to promote some energy. And as always, I have cleansed this space, specifically using what's called Spirit Path to help promote what kind of journey path with the messages that come today that you need to hear to help align with your spirit path. So I've already drawn some astro dice for you. In your astro dice, we have Leo in the 4th house with your North Node. And what that tells me is, without even pulling out any cards or decks, that this is going to be a period of your life, or the messages that you need to hear are going to likely relate to basically boosting your confidence, maybe taking on a leadership kind of role, or that can also relate to, with leadership in Leo, just taking charge of your life. Like, even if it's not in, for example, a career, it could be personal, like I'm taking charge of my life, right? Because Leo is about willpower, creativity. It's about being radiant. Like, this is your glow up kind of era. And with the North Node as well, like, this is a perfect combination with how, what's coming up for you is in the future, creating your destiny, and basically learning lessons or completing lessons in your life. It's also about going outside of your comfort zone, which is part of that leadership or confidence that's coming in for you in order for you to essentially maybe get this glow up. And the North Node is about, with that glow up, right? Evolution, right? You're evolving in life. You're taking charge with that willpower, like a Leo. And with the 4th house too, what we have is maybe stuff with family, stuff in the home environment. So even in the home environment too, like taking charge, right? Like, so an example could be decluttering, reorganizing, spring cleaning, things of that nature as an example. The 4th house with family too could connect to your ancestors, going back to your roots, maybe setting a solid foundation. And the 4th house can relate to more of the maternal side, like you're a mother or mother figure, which could also represent, if it's not literal in that sense, maybe connecting to your nurturing side. So this is already a beautiful start, because with Leo, the North Node, and the 4th house, this is telling me that basically, like, I'm picking up that there's a lot of self-reflection that you're going to be doing. Maybe also self-care, taking time to nurture yourself, self-love. So let me pull out this first deck and let's kind of see what comes up for you. What is the first message that the collective needs to hear? Okay. So right away, we have reconciliation coming up for you. So whatever this is about in your life, the messages you need to hear, if this is maybe related to family or your relationship with your mom or mother figure, this is a clear message that it can be saved. Like, you are able to repair. That's what I'm getting for you, if it is. Or reconciliation can also just do with the repair with yourself, right? If it's not relating to a person or a situation, it can just be about yourself, like repairing myself, right? Because that's part of a glow up, doing things to recover, to heal with yourself. That's what reconciliation can also mean, in a more independent way. And then I just had another card actually fall out of the deck. And the card that fell was recognition. Someone deserves to be recognized for all that they do. So I feel, because of what I was just saying, that maybe this recognition is about you again. Are you giving yourself credit? Are you recognizing your efforts? Or, right, recognizing what might need reconciliation in your life if it does relate to some kind of relationship. So this is already a great start. Let me get a different deck now to kind of see what else we have that's coming up for you. All right. So, divine intuitive soul, what else does the universe need to communicate with you? We have interconnection. So, with this card, what we see is maybe this is relating to a relationship, or if not, a relationship with yourself, connecting to yourself, or perhaps even connection to your spiritual guides, your masters, your loved ones, your God or goddess, or whatever it may be that resonates for you in your spiritual journey, connecting to spirituality, right? And we have these beautiful felines, maybe leopards, and there's a sense of trust, right? Comfort, security, and with those flowers too kind of blossoming, and maybe like the pollen kind of, if you want to see that depiction, coming out as like growth, something that needs to be, that requires growth, nurturing, care, time. Right? We have leaves too, a tree perhaps, that could represent your ancestors, family ties, your family roots. So again, already kind of coming back to the energy from the Astro dice as well. So that's really interesting. And I feel like because 4 can represent the family, it could relate to that relationship, or again, your ancestors, right? Or if you're thinking of doing spiritual work to connect to your ancestors or heal generational trauma, as an example, these are all basically signs in these messages that it's time. You can do it. You can repair. You can break that generational curse, as an example. Because it could, this to me, I'm picking up more on a spiritual level, like not even necessarily in the material world, like the 3D world of like a relationship to repair, even though that could apply. But I'm picking up for most of you that it's a spiritual kind of journey, that it's a spiritual journey of connecting to your ancestors or your family roots, and maybe understanding that past to know kind of also what kind of generational traumas and cycles would I need to break. And so it also even looks like maybe there's like an egg, so a rebirth or something new that will come up and be birthed out of this. That could also be something to consider. And now let's see, getting another deck, what maybe you need to hear. So, wow, we have inspiration coming up for you. So here in inspiration, perhaps there's a need in this work, because again, I'm feeling like this is related to like a connection maybe to yourself for a majority of you, and that connection to yourself that will help align with your highest self in understanding your spiritual journey and understand the spiritual work that maybe needs to be done, right? And in order to have this destiny, have this evolution, this glow up, right? This confidence. And it requires maybe going to your past. So with inspiration coming up, what I'm sensing, because this is also fire element, right? And that fire element can also connect to the Leo energy. And with that Leo energy, the fire of, passion, right? Passion, inspiration, and how maybe going into the roots, ancestral ties, just as an example, how that might inspire you, how that might spark something in you, how that might light something that was in the dark, because fire too represents a light. So this could also even tell me maybe there's shadow work that could be beneficial for you. And in doing shadow work, you're bringing things to light, right? What is now unknown, or what was once unknown, is now known. So what was once unconscious becomes conscious. And this is part of this self-reflection that I was picking up on for you. And then next up, we have labor of love. Wow. Wow, look at how beautiful this card is. So in this labor of love, what I'm seeing again is this inspiration. And whatever this relates to for you in your life is not only going to just have this spiritual journey that aligns with your highest good, with the ancestral ties or generational trauma, like we mentioned, but it's also going to create maybe a new found of self-love. Again, that confidence, maybe even your self-image as you evolve. You're expressing your creativity. You're allowing your creativity, regardless of its form, to basically have a space to exist. So this labor of love is also telling me it's going to take a lot of effort, right? Labor is doing the work. That's going to be hard, but because you'll be inspired, because your path will be lit. It'll be clear, and that's going to create like more effort into your self-love, right? With this labor of love card. And even in this depiction, like you see, like to me, I'm like, it's all history, right? Like, look at all of these things. This is all part of history, right? These artifacts, for example, ancient Roman, Greek times, the Hispanic culture too, with it looks like maybe Frida. And so to me, this is like history, like again, like ancestral ties, going to your roots and trying to not criticize whatever you find in the generational trauma or cycles as an example, but to labor it with love. Like whatever comes up in this journey as maybe you explore your roots or the past and history, just make sure you add love to it. Provide love to all of it, right? So that's what I see here with the labor of love, which is amazing. That's so beautiful. And so I'm gonna get another deck to kind of see what else we have going on, to pick up different messages for you. And so it's so interesting that these cards are all confirming everything we talked about with the astro dice, before we even got into it. And so this is just confirmation that this is exactly what you need to hear. And this is absolutely related to your family, right? Your ancestors, your past, right? Things like that, traditions, cultures, religions, things of that nature. And right here, as you saw, this card just popped out, and it's Sacred Temple. Wow. I love this card. So in the Sacred Temple, we have a depiction of a soul who has their eyes closed. And with their eyes being closed, to me, that represents trying to basically trust the process, right? And this blue on the forehead could represent like how this maybe phase of your life is going to connect you to your third eye. And maybe more specifically with your third eye, receiving messages. This to me could also indicate that maybe in your dream state, like it's possible that in your dream states, you could, so I'm making sure you guys can see this. In your dream state, like you might have messages there. You might connect to some of the history or generational traumas and cycles. Could be expressed through your dreams. So pay attention to your dreams during this period of your life as well. And then here we have the heart, right? So this is also a time of aligning with your heart chakra. So healing, right? And this card, Sacred Temple, also can relate to your mind, body, soul connection. So making sure that that's aligned, making sure that you're taking the right steps. So this also resonates with self-care, right? If my mind, body, and soul are a sacred temple, in order to maintain that sacredness, we need to make sure we have self-care, right? Self-love. So, right, again, with this kind of glow up and evolution, it's going to allow you to maybe appreciate yourself better, your work better, your spiritual journey better, your ability to connect better, right? Like all of these things, like this is just going to help you connect better. And it's part of this inspiration that you're picking up on. And this kind of background too with the window, there's this light beam kind of shining in the back. And to me, it's kind of shining at the window, and maybe all of these colors, right, are radiant as an example. And how, again, with this inspiration card, whatever work this relates to for you, it's going to shine light. And this light isn't just going to shine like the sun. It's going to create different perspectives, like these different triangle shapes as an example, different colors and things like that, because that could be representative of the things you'll find. They're so different, and yet they're all connected. They're all telling a story. What is that story, right? And with your eyes closed, how can I trust this process? Because, for example, doing generational trauma work, breaking those cycles, can be really heavy because it requires accountability. It requires honesty. It requires also a lot of compassion, because if we, for example, find that, let's say, once upon a time, 100 years ago, one of the family members were crucified for something, or they had crucified someone else, just as an example. And crucifying in this context, we're going to go with, like someone being unalived. And that might be a shocker. That might be heavy, right? That might feel like, oh my gosh, it's going to change my point of view on my entire family, on my entire, side of this family that I thought was XYZ, right? Whatever it is. And so the message I'm getting from this is that whatever you find, whatever it is that you discover, don't judge it. Make sure your heart chakra is aligned. That's why that's coming up here. So you can have compassion for whatever that situation is. Let's not add more guilt and shame, because that's what's already feeding the generational trauma, right? So let's not shame that. Let's not even pick up the guilt from that. Let's just have compassion for that. Let's just try to trust that us finding out whatever this information is that could be heavy or difficult to process is guiding the way. And maybe the difficulty or challenge in whatever you might discover in exploring that past with your ancestors or roots, maybe that could inspire you. So that's actually teaching me something, right? That's inspiring me, right? Those are ways I can have compassion and add to this labor of love, which will inspire my creativity, create this interconnection, right? To reconcile and recognize that this is what's meant to be. And in doing that, I can trust, right? So let's kind of dive in a little bit deeper. Let's see what else comes up for you, divine intuitive soul. What do you need to hear? What else do you need to hear for this period of your life? Wow, gatherer. So here in gatherer, absolutely, like to me, what this represents is I'm gathering all this information. And in doing that, I can gather through self-reflections, right? Through building awareness. And as a gatherer, this is an opportunity to nurture myself and my family with whatever I may discover. Wow. I can hold a space where I can nurture myself. And also that these fruits in a basket could also even represent ways that this is nourishing you on a soul level. I nourish my soul in this work, in this journey, through this process and building that awareness. And again, eyes are closed. So, right, to me, representing that I can trust this process. I don't need to see it to believe it. I just need to feel it to know it. Trust. Wow, that's beautiful. And all these plants growing, right? Growth. That's what you're getting out of this, out of nourishing your soul. I can grow. All these plants too could be symbolic of roots, your ancestors, right? Your past, looking at the foundation that it was built on. And we even have some feathers that are in her pocket. And so these feathers could also represent how your spirit guides are with you during this journey. They're connecting to you. And again, maybe they're already providing messages to you through the form of birds, as an example, or like we mentioned here, in your dream state. So just kind of be aware of that. And now let's get into another deck. Let's see what else we have. So, what else does the divine intuitive soul need to hear? Wow, wild. So, right away with this wild card, what I feel this is picking up on is a sense of freedom. Oh, okay, hold on. I want to make sure you guys can see this, so I'm going to move these cards out a little bit. Okay. So what we have here in wild is freeing yourself. Freeing yourself. And another deck with the eyes closed. In freeing myself, I can trust the process. And wild could also be a sense of like when you hear that word too, like, oh my gosh, that was wild, right? That was crazy. There could be a sense of like fear. And with these killer whales, which are excellent hunters too, that can represent how even when you look at killer whales, right, that are basically fearless, right? And they are wild mammals, marine animals, creatures, right? Where maybe this is the universe saying it's time to let your mind become free. Like maybe in your mind, you've really restricted yourself through forms of, for example, belief systems. And in order to do this work, maybe you're going to have to challenge those belief systems because we have them kind of swimming around the mind, the head kind of area. And then we have this kind of circle that kind of wraps around. So to me, that's like drawing the attention to your mind, your brain, your head. And in one of out of the two killer whales, we have one that's kind of like transparent, the other one that's more solid. So to me, this could be like a representation of yourself as an example, and like your spiritual guides, just as an example. And how like, we're behind you, we're following you, trust. And I'll give you another close-up. But like, that's what it can be. We're behind you. We're following you. You got this. You can trust this process, even though it could feel wild, crazy, chaotic. I can still trust that I'm guided every step of the way. And like a killer whale, I can embody that confidence with whatever creature I run into. I'm still confident in my abilities to track, because they're hunters, right? In hunting, discovering, gathering that information of whatever this relates to with the ancestral past, the history that could come up for you. Wow. So to me, that's just saying like, you're prepared. You're prepared. And the best way you can prepare is to know that the things you might find out could challenge your belief systems. Can you trust that process? Because maybe you need to challenge those belief systems in order to evolve, right? In order to reach your destiny, in order to have this glow up, take on that leadership role, start taking charge of your life, having the willpower, right? That's incredible. Wow. So let's see what else comes up for you. Let's see what else comes up for you. Wow. 32, we have abandoned here. So in this abandoned card, it's possible that like similar to this wild card, having to free your mind, maybe challenge your belief systems, some things you might discover might make you realize like, wow, I didn't realize how abandoned I might have felt growing up or now, or situations tying to your roots where there was abandonment, just as an example. Because even in this depiction too, and it's so funny, another eyes closed, trusting the process. So, right, eyes closed, trusting the process. And again, there's like this imagery within the head area, right? So this is like going into your mind, self-reflection, introspection, what we mentioned earlier, self-awareness, self-reflection. This is confirmation. And within this depiction too, we have what could appear to look like maybe a cave-like kind of image. Then there's a single candle that's lit. So what this could represent is going back to this light, right? It's going to shed light on something that was hidden dark in the shadows in this cave that's dark, right? And even this depiction looks like it's pretty dark. And we have what appears to be the moon. So to me, because the moon represents unconscious, shadow work, shadow self, confirmation all over again here that this might require doing shadow work, but we can't really do shadow work sometimes if we don't know what it might be about, if we don't know how to maybe connect to those dots or those roots, right? So this is amazing. I'm going to get another deck to kind of see what else is coming up for you as a divine intuitive soul. And this is going to be specifically looking at maybe what kind of self-care. What do you need to do that could maybe help you on this journey in doing this work? Self-care. What kind of self-care does the divine intuitive soul here need to hear relating to this journey, these messages? Okay. Wow, setting clear boundaries is an act of self-love. Incredible. setting clear boundaries is an act of self-love. Yes. Because again, maybe what you find out, right, is not going to be something that maybe is going to settle or sit right with you. And so maybe with whatever this discovery is, whatever information you gather and whatever belief systems are challenged from this, the abandonment you might find or identify, is it'll teach you about maybe what boundaries you might need to have in your life, right? So that's just an example. And in setting those boundaries, because it's rainy, right? Like, oh my gosh, this feels overwhelming. This is too much. It's stormy. This tells me it might be emotional, really emotional. But there's a rainbow. We need the storm. We need that chaos. We need that wildness to have a rainbow. So let's get one more card from this deck to see what else comes up for you. Set fire to your fear and you will spark growth. Absolutely. Wow. Like we said, it could be fearful, right? Scary to make these, to gather this information, to make these connections, but it's going to shed light, and that's what we need. So in freeing your mind, trusting the process, setting boundaries as an example, you will spark growth. That's how you grow, right? So again, with the fire element, passion, shedding light to something, and how that light is going to help boost your confidence even. Wow. So divine intuitive soul, whoa. I just got this deck and we have another card flying up. Wow. Confirmation with the Three of Swords that this is going to be painful. This is going to strike you. It's going to be intense. We have more rain coming in. It's going to feel like a heavy rainstorm. It's going to feel like that rainstorm is never ending and like the rainbow is never going to come. So I'm sensing that even maybe right now there's a feeling of hesitation. Like this is too much. I don't even know if I want to hear the rest. Like I don't even know if this is worth it. But with the Three of Swords, it doesn't have to defeat you. This is just a sign that maybe this is a period where it's going to require that you face that pain, you face those fears. We can't keep running from it, or we'll stay stuck in the Three of Swords forever. Wow. Divine intuitive soul. What more confirmation do you need? This is a Leo card. This is a fire element. You have the lion shooting out flames. This is confirmation. You are going to get past this devastation, this chaos. You're not going to be there forever. And this is what you gain: strength, confidence, shedding light. And this also tells me using your voice, self-expression, because using your voice as an example means setting boundaries, communicating, hey, no thanks, right? As an example, using your voice, maybe finding your voice, knowing your voice. This strength is part of creating that foundation. So much fire elements here, which is incredible. And again, just confirmation that this is what you need to hear. And we had felines in this card. Now we have a feline here, right? Leo is the lion. So all the confirmation. And something else I actually didn't notice about this card is there's another leaf. To me, that's just representing again that this is about ancestral work. Wow. Wow. This is incredible. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to now jump into another deck to kind of get some final messages before we close off here on all of these things that we've talked about. What are maybe some of the last messages that the collective needs to hear right now relating to this? Wow. Oh my gosh. Confirmation yet again with the Strength card, I feel like. Endless serendipity. Fireworks, fire element, hello. Red, which is about passion, confidence. Wow. I mean, I don't know what else you need to hear, but like doing this work is going to help you with the strength you need. It's going to help you with having this, if you want to think of it like happy kind of ending, but there's no such thing as an ending anyway, right? Endless happiness, confidence, strength, abundance. And with the white too, that's under the red coat, purity, sense of purity or a cleanse. And think about the rainstorm too. The rain creates a storm, but it purifies. It doesn't just help in creating a rainbow, but it can purify, it can cleanse us in our soul. We need to go through this chaos. We need to understand the pain. We need to understand the trauma if we want to break the cycle. And 8 represents a lot of times, karmic ties, right? So the infinity symbol, we repeat the cycle, right? And there's a saying along the lines of something like, if we don't take the time to understand our history, we're bound to repeat it. So as you do this work, feel rest assured that you are going to have abundance. And next up, we have updates to your system. Wow, absolutely. Updates to your system. So what this tells me too is this is part of, again, your evolution. This is how you're going to evolve. Doing this is going to help you evolve, update, recharge, evolve, right? And you're receiving downloads from the universe too, like I said, potentially through either signs of birds, through birds with the feathers that we had earlier, and or through your dreams. And also because of the cat energy with Leo, the felines, I would even say could be confirmation that you're on the right path, or fire, or the sun, because the strength card is part of the light. It's connected to the planet of the sun, just as examples of maybe the signs that you're on the right path. Wow, so this is incredible. So I'm going to just get one last card for you. And this is just going to be about anything else, any last message you need to hear to help you with the confidence you need for this journey. So, wow, we have the Temperance card. Doing all this work is going to create balance. We have another rainbow yet again. It's going to be stormy. It's going to be rainy, but it's going to help us purify. And in purifying, we have that rainbow, that balance, that creativity, that inspiration. We have patience, right? We have being calm, a sense of peace. And even in this depiction, right, yin and yang, that balance, right? And yin and yang also represents chaos, right? Like yin and yang represents order and chaos, right? The feminine and masculine energy, we need both, right? We need the good with the bad and the bad with the good. And also this, soul is wearing blue. So again, this is about self-expression, communication, maybe setting boundaries, like we said, using your voice. We also have wings in the background. So that to me is also saying like, you have your spirit guides, your ancestors, they're behind you. They're ready for you to do this work. They're supportive of you doing this work with you. And every time you do this, every time you evolve, you update yourself, your system, you're also helping heal and break the generational trauma. Wow. This is incredible. Divine Intuitive Soul, I thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I really hope that you trust in yourself and your abilities, that you also can ask your ancestors for clarity. And if you choose to go through this journey. But I'm here to say you have everything that you need. You are ready for it. The time is now. And this is only going to help you align with your highest self. This is a win-win for everyone. It's just going to be bumpy, right? Stormy, chaotic. But all these cards are indicating, we got you. You got this. Just trust and leave the rest to the universe, because they're guiding your path so that you are able to align with your highest self. So please feel free to leave any feedback in the comment section below. I really appreciate it. And I hope you tune back for another upcoming video. Oh my gosh, another thing I just want to point out that just stood out to me is this card is the card of Jupiter, right? And that's the card of luck, good fortune. So if that's just the last piece of message I want you to take away, it's you're in good hands. Doing this work, you're going to get fortune. You're going to be lucky. Like, it's absolutely worth it. Right? And so, oh my gosh, I'm just so happy that I could even provide this message for you. And again, I hope you tune back for another upcoming video. Thank you so much. Bye.